Effective leadership will result from commitment to good governance. Nigerians simply want effective leadership, the kind achieved when leaders show humility, restraint, and respect for limitations on their powers and give primacy to the needs, welfare, and rights of citizens. And on that note, I welcome you to Know Your Representative, the program that bridges the visible gap between lawmakers and their constituents. I am Mariah Olashende, but first, let's meet my guests. Honorable Bamidele Salam, representing Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore and Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State at the House of Representatives. Representative Bamidele Salam is a journalist, lawyer, educationist, author, politician, and member of the National Assembly, representing the good people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore, Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Until 2003, he was a staff of the Osun State Broadcasting Service, where he worked in several areas of broadcast journalism. It was from here that he proceeded to serve in the government of Prince Olagunsoye Oyinlola as media assistant to the governor, a position he held until 2007. As a politician loved by his people, he contested and won the chairmanship election in Egbedore local government and served as executive chairman of the local government from 2008 to 2010. His tenure as chairman of Egbedore local government witnessed several unprecedented achievements in the local government. The giant strides achieved by the administration team led by him in the local government were largely attributable to visionary leadership style, uprightness, and dedication to quality service delivery benefited the common man. After successfully completing his tenure as local government chairman, he proceeded to serve as the head of media in the office of the Senior Special Assistant to former President Goodluck Jonathan on Public Affairs. He held this position until 2015 when the government of former President Goodluck Jonathan was succeeded by President Muhammadu Buhari. In the 2019 National Assembly election, he was overwhelmingly elected to represent the good people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore, Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State in the House of Representatives on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. All through the course of his professional and political journey that saw him move from journalism into politics and then to law, Rep. Salam has remained dedicated to a task that he considered to be a calling, that is teaching. He believes we can make the future bright by passing on vital knowledge to the younger generation through role modeling, academic teaching, and tireless involvement in matters that affect them. A vibrant lawmaker who never hesitates to give his contributions during plenary. In his first 2 years in the Green Chamber, he is the only first-timer from Osun State to have sponsored 11 bills, several motions that have yielded positive results for the people of his constituency. Bamidele Salam is a proud member of the People's Democratic Party and is happily married to the wife of his youth, Mrs. Oluwaseyi Salam, and they are blessed with lovely children. Bamidele's favorite quote is, "If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other."
If we are compelling medical practitioners to report cases of infectious diseases, that come to them, to agencies of government,
as a representative of the fantastic people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore, Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State, Honorable Bamidele Salam is driven by a vision to make landmark impacts in the areas of access to business funding for young entrepreneurs, access to justice, particularly for the less privileged, access to healthcare, access to employment opportunities, and access to quality education. In order to redeem the constituents from the shackles of poverty, ignorance, and disease, Honorable Bamidele Salam has embarked on several projects Programs and activities including the BSE4 Business and Leadership Bootcamp, Georgia Women Microgrant Empowerment Scheme, Senior Citizens Medical Outreach, Skill Acquisition Program on Fabric Designing, Tie and Dye and Batik, among other capacity-building empowerment schemes. He pioneered Operation 400 Businesses aimed at creating 400 startups across his constituency. One of the beneficiaries, Alao Adesheun, a graduate of electrical engineering, told Honorable Bamidele Salam when he visited him on his fish farm in Ede recently that fish farming is one of the most profitable businesses in the agricultural value chain. He said he used the grants he got from the BSE4 Business and Leadership Bootcamp to start small and is hopeful that his fish farming will grow bigger very soon. Isia Karasaki Ajadi was also empowered with an industrial shoemaking machine as part of Bamidele's support for his small enterprise after an edition of the BSE4 Business and Leadership Bootcamp. Honorable Bamidele Salam visited him and met many trainees as they made shoes of various designs and sizes.
Ọlọ́run mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Honorable Bamidele Salam tí ó ń sojú ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ Ẹgbẹ́dọ̀rẹ́, Ede South, Ede North àti Ejigbo fún ipa ribiribi tí wọ́n kó nínú ayé àwọn ọ̀dọ́ nípa ìrànwá lọ́wọ́ ìró wa lágbára láti lè ní ànító àníṣẹ́kù. Torí àwa tí àjàǹfààní kì í sí ẹgbẹ́ PDP nìkan, gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ ló jẹ́, gbogbo àti APC ní àti SDP ní ó kó gbogbo àwọn ọ̀dọ́ tí ń bẹ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun yìí ní Ẹgbẹ́dọ̀rẹ́, Ede North, Ede South, Ejigbo ó kó wa mọ́ra ní lájọ ṣe program yìí alẹ́ ní 400 youth tá a ṣe ní bootcamp alákọ̀ọ́kọ́. Mo fẹ́ fi ìdùnnú mi hàn sí ẹgbẹ́ PDP náà gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn tí wọ́n wu ọmọ rẹ̀ tí wọ́n sì fi candidate rẹ̀ tí wọ́n fi sílẹ̀ tá a sì ń rí àǹfààní rẹ̀ jẹ. Ọlọ́run jẹ́gbẹ́ náà ṣubú o. Tí a bá fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ ìtẹ́lẹ̀ níwọ̀nba ìgbà tó yẹ pé machine tá à ń lo ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ pẹ́kẹ́pẹ́kẹ́ ni tá a bá fẹ́ ṣe iṣẹ́ fún lẹ́tà sùn gẹ́gẹ́ bí iṣẹ́ ilé yàtọ̀ àmọ́ ṣe táwọn èèyàn máa ń pọ̀ gan kì í ó mọ́ ń gbà wá lásìkò tó yẹ pé a máa ń ṣe night gan ká tó ṣe torí a tún transfer a lọ sẹ́dẹ̀ a tún dúró a tún queue níbi tí wọ́n ti ń rán iṣẹ́ yìí ni. Nígbà náà a lè mọ̀ ṣe ju bóyá bíi dọ́sìn mẹ́rin dọ́sìn márùn-ún lọ bọ̀ nísìn tá a bá fẹ́ ṣe 50 dozen láàrin ijọ́ méjì ijọ́ mẹ́ta àti ṣe tán kò sì tún ó sì tún mú ìwúrí fún àwọn kọ́sítọ́mà wa láti lè máa kọjá fún wọn.
Ní ẹnu ìgbà tí wọ́n déjọba láàrin ọdún méjì yìí àwa obìnrin láìpẹ́ yìí wọ́n ṣe ètò kan a pè ètò náà ní àjọjẹ microfinance grant léyìí tó jẹ́ sí wípé ní gbogbo ìjọba àbílẹ̀ mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin tí Honorable Bamidele Salam tí wọ́n ń sojú fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn obìnrin ló ti jàǹfààní yìí lè tèmi gan náà tí mo dúró yìí tí mo jẹ́ ọ̀kan ní ara wọn. Ó ní pé wọ́n fún wa ní àwọn owó ìrànwọ́ láti fún àwọn okòwò wa léyìí tó já sí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ obìnrin lórí owó náà tí a sì ń lò bó ti tọ́ àti bó ṣe yẹ kí Ọlọ́run aláàánú jùlọ kó bá wa wọn tẹ̀ wọ́n síwájú. Àkọ́kọ́ ní ìlú Ọ̀fàtẹ̀dó tá a wà yìí tá a ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí tó jẹ́ ìkan lára ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ Ẹgbẹ́dọ̀rẹ́ a ò ní grammar school rárá tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. Ìgbà tí wọ́n wà ní alága council ní 2009 àwọn ni wọ́n fún ìlú yìí ní secondary school. Àtìgbà tí wọ́n sì ti fún wa pẹ̀lú block of classroom tí wọ́n kọ́ bẹ̀ òun náà ló wà ń bẹ̀ títí ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tí Ọlọ́run ṣe tí wọ́n tún padà dé ìjọba àtúnlọ bá wọn pé honourable nǹkan báyìí wọ́n sì facilitate secondary school yìí sí 3 block of classroom ó tún kún eléyìí tí wọ́n fún wa tẹ́lẹ̀ eléyìí tó já sí pé ọwọ́ wọn látìgbà tí wọ́n ti wà lálága council bákan náà ló tún wà ń bẹ́ẹ̀dì sí tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n kọ́ classroom sí fún wa kò tún wá mọ bẹ́ẹ̀ o wọ́n tún kó àwọn equipment sínú classroom gẹ́gẹ́ bí chairs tables fáwọn ọmọ chairs tables fáwọn teachers bákan náà wọ́n tún ṣe ojú ọ̀nà wọ́n sì facilitate láti Àkòdá títí dé oríta Ọlọ́runṣògòǹbì tó jẹ́ sí pé títì yìí ti wà lájọ ọjọ́ tó ti pẹ́ tẹ́ pé ọkọ̀ ò tiẹ̀ rí bẹ́ẹ̀ rìn rárá kódà àwọn mọ́tò tiẹ̀ ń pa bẹ́ẹ̀tì tẹ́ bá fẹ́ lọ sẹ́dẹ̀ ẹ̀ dúró tẹ̀ ní rí mọ́tò látàrí ọ̀nà tí ò dáa ṣùgbọ́n lẹ́nu ìgbà tí wọ́n déjọba yìí wọ́n ti facilitate tó jẹ́ pé láti oríta Àkòdá wọ́n wá sí ọ̀nà ìdè Ọlọ́runṣògo ní estate ń bì tó jẹ́ pé àwọn mọ́tò rìn bẹ̀ gẹ́rẹ́gẹ́ tó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n sì ti ń parí ọ̀nà lọ díẹ̀díẹ̀ bákan náà fún gbáyé gbádùn àwọn èèyàn wa ní Ẹdẹ federal constituencies wọ́n tún mú àwọn náà sólà lè ta lè rátọ́ka sí rẹ̀ bí wá sí Ẹdẹ federal constituencies gbogbo àwọn agbègbè wa nírú Ẹdẹ south tó tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé ó ní agbègbè púpọ̀ tó jẹ́ pé oríko níbẹ̀ gbogbo inú ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n kó sólà yìí sí tí àwọn èèyàn tún wá jẹ́ security fáwọn èèyàn wa tó jẹ́ wípé tẹ iná ìjọba bá lọ kedere lẹ́ẹ̀ máa wò bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dáàfin ní Ọ̀fàtẹ̀dó bá ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí tẹ̀ dé gbogbo street sá bí wọ́n ṣe gbé àwọn náà káàkiri bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló sì káàkiri ní Ẹdẹ federal constituency kọ́ lọ́ aláàánú jùlọ kó dàpọ̀ ọ̀nà Bamidele Salam kó má jẹ́ ṣubú ohun tó tún ipò tó tún jù báyìí lọ kọ́ lọ́wọ́ aláàánú jùlọ kó bá wọn gbé wọn sí pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run.
Honorable Bamidele Salam kò fi àwa àkàndá sílẹ̀ láìpẹ́ ni wọ́n san owó àwọn èèyàn wa tó nípèníjà ojú torí admission sí sped Ọ̀yọ́, so wọ́n dẹ̀ tún ti ń ṣèlérí láti ti ṣèrànlọ́wọ́ fún wọn nípa ti ìrónilágbára àti skill acquisition. Honourable Bamidele Salam ṣe program kan boot camp ní February ọdún yìí. Wọ́n kó àwa àkàndá náà sínú program yẹn láti fi hàn yí pé àwa náà jẹ́ èèyàn and then nípa ìmọ̀ tó ní kálukú gbà àti ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tá a ti gbà nínú program yìí aláǹfààní láti lè fi máa dá okòwò sílẹ̀. Honourable Bamidele Salam wọ́n fi ìfẹ́ hàn sí wa torí wọ́n gbà wá lálejò láìpẹ́ tí wọ́n dẹ̀ tún ti ń ṣèlérí pé fún wa sẹ́ẹ̀ pé dípò táwọn pé ìdá ìfúnni níṣẹ́ ìrónilágbára fún àwa àkàndá wípé àwọn ò ní já mi níbẹ̀ láti mọ̀ tẹ̀síwájú. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ṣèlérí fún wa nípa ti ètò ẹ̀kọ́ fún àwọn ọmọ iléèwé wa láti pín ìwé àti àwọn nǹkan ẹ̀kọ́ fún àwọn ọmọ iléèwé wa tó jẹ́ àkàndá torí pé a mọ̀ pé àwọn ọmọ wọ̀nyí wọ́n nípèníjà àǹdẹ́ àti lọ sí school wọn ó ní lágbára díẹ̀.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, the program is still Know Your Representative, and this is the interview segment of the program. I have here with me the lawmaker representing the fantastic people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore and Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State at the House of Representatives, Honourable Bamidele Salam. Honourable, you're welcome to New Representative. Let's begin this way. What was growing up like?
Well, like an average Nigerian who is from an average socio-economic background. My father was a policeman, and that made his job a little bit tasking. He was transferred from one location to the other, and that dislocated our own educational career at the earlier stage. My mother was a trader. She was actually a food seller, and I grew up knowing her selling food, helping her in the kitchen, helping her serving customers, food. They gave us the best of home training, especially in terms of values.
Okay, so now let me bring you back to your constituency. What does your constituency mean to you?
Without my constituents, I wouldn't be where I am today. The people of my federal constituency, whom I fondly refer to as the fantastic people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore and Ejigbo in Osun State, are assets to me. They are the people who gave life to this dream, to this vision, and for them to have entrusted this office and this responsibility to me is a thing that I'm eternally grateful for. And so I live every single day here thinking about how to justify that mandate, how to prove that indeed they have not made a mistake in sending me here, and how to ensure that at the end of my tenure here, they have reason to say, oh yes, he went there and he truly served us.
So how much more are you willing to give to your constituents in terms of quality representation?
As much as the Almighty God enables me to do. My entire life is about service. I take joy in service. I had been involved in community work right from post-secondary school years. Before I gained admission to the university in my community, Awo, that's the headquarters of Egbedo local government, I was involved with, organizing free tutorial programs for pupils and for students. I founded an education fund. Even at that stage of my life, we had something we call the Awo Education Fund. And every month of March, we gathered people together to come and donate money so that we could give scholarships to those who are less privileged, so that we could buy books and share to schools and so on and so forth.
So let's talk about education. What have you done for your people in terms of education?
There is no value that we can add to society as important as giving education to our young ones. So the moment I got here, I decided to design a set of programs which will impact on the quality of teaching and learning in our public schools. We are building more classrooms. We are also going to do more of supply of instructional materials to our schools, books, teaching aids, science kits, and other things that our schools need. One day I decided to go through around some public schools in my federal constituency. And when I got there, I said, I just wanted to meet with the SS2 and SS3 students. So when I got to the SS2 and SS3 students, I asked them, how many of you have ever seen a computer before in your life? Ever seen? In a class of about 60, only 2 people raised their hand. How many of you have ever worked on a computer? Nobody's hand was up. So now, in one of the public schools in Alao Grammar School, I facilitated an ICT center there. And the students there, for the first time in their life, are able to work on a computer. So because, again, there was no teacher that could handle that subject, I employed a teacher from the community whom I placed on a salary and put on my own monthly bill, who goes there thrice every week to teach them how to use the computer. Most of these schools have no laboratory. They are doing physics, chemistry, and biology. They have never been into a laboratory before. So I'm thinking, if it is possible, if I can afford it, why can't I have a mobile laboratory, for example? A van that will be kitted with all laboratory equipment, and then the schools rotate these things among themselves, move from one school to the other. I'm praying that God will give me the resource. It is something I really desire that I'm able to do. These are some of the things that we're doing in the educational field, apart from also assisting students who are financially unable to pay their fees. I have quite a number of them who are on either partial or full scholarship in tertiary institutions. I have also partnered with community-based organizations to organize free tutorial program for those who are preparing to take the university tertiary matriculation examination, in addition to offering to buy those forms and provide for our constituents. These are some of the things that we have done in the educational sector in the last 2 years, and we hope to still do more as we go on.
So when you go around the schools to assess the infrastructures and everything on ground, do you assess the teachers as well?
Yes, I do. I interact with the teachers. Number one, there's a huge deficiency in number. Let me begin from that, in number. And for some of the public schools, what I do is that I ask them to look at the community and see if there's someone who read education, who is competent to teach, living in the community, who will not require so much money as a monthly bill. And I take that onto my own monthly bill. So I've added quite a few teachers of primary and secondary school to my own monthly bill to help the public school.
Okay, so let's look at the Business and Leadership Bootcamp for youth in your federal constituency. What informed this?
Yes, when I was elected member of the House of Representatives, I decided that one of the flagship programs I was going to initiate and sustain was that boot camp, which is essentially an avenue to bring young minds together on an annual basis to equip them with the necessary skills and necessary character for excellence in their business endeavor and in leadership. I decided on starting this Business and Leadership Bootcamp. The first edition that we had in 2020, by the time we put out the application and we had almost 1,000 people applying, I was scared because I was going to organize that 100% from my own funds, and that was what I did. But we couldn't take in that number, of course. We took in a number a little below 200, who came around. And then we invited resource persons to come and fire their imagination, fire their zeal, and empower them with the knowledge that they need about opportunities that abound in society. As challenged as our economy is today, there are still opportunities abound everywhere. It just takes somebody with the right information, to tap into such opportunities. So we had that boot camp. At the end of it all, we had a pitching competition where they all came to talk about their business ideas, and we picked the best. And then a few weeks after then, we had an empowerment program for 55 of them whose ideas were graded to be very excellent, gave them capital, gave them materials to start off. And some of them are doing fantastically well. We're hoping that in the next few weeks, we're going to have another edition of the Business and Leadership Bootcamp.
In your first term and your 2 years in the House of Representatives, some of your constituents have said you've been very, very impactful. So I'm going to take you to your plans for women. I saw in your post, I think it was an unscheduled visit, and the women just on the road, maybe you came down and, and you could see the love and everything. So what are your plans for women in your constituency?
Again, because of the special role that these women play, not just in politics, but in society in general, I decided that we're going to design a program that we call the Ajoje Women Micro Grants Program. Now, Ajoje is taken out of a proverb. The Yoruba proverb is that Ajoje odunbeni kan oni, when there is mass poverty, no matter how wealthy you are not rich. And these are women who are traders, who are artisans, who are involved in various economic activities. And I discovered from my interaction with them that some of them don't actually need too much money to grow their businesses. You can be surprised with 10,000 naira. Some of them will grow their business in a very exponential manner in a very short time. So we decided that program and had a pilot scheme. That pilot scheme had about 300 women benefiting. Again, I funded that 100%. Because the pilot scheme, I wanted to see how successful it is. But the next edition now, we're partnering with an agency of government under the zonal intervention project in the 2021 budget, which will hold any moment from now to take in more women. What we do is that we bring in resource persons to train them, to inspire them, and then we give them, those grants that they can use either to start or to grow, their business. So we decided to fix some solar power lights in the market. And I was shocked because it was like, I thought that was just a small intervention. But for the women, it's a lot. It's a lot. They began to pray, they were so glad. They didn't need to bring lantern, bring lamp, buy oil and what have you again. The expectations are not actually gargantuan. They're not really too much. They just want you to touch their life, to affect their life in the little manner that you can. And I really appreciate that. And I give them my commitment of doing more and more and more by the grace of God.
So going forward, what should your constituents expect from you? In
terms of our project facilitation, there are quite a lot that we have laid out for the 2021 and we'll be rolling over to 2022 in terms of provision of water to so many other communities that have not had. Of course, the solar power light, like I told you, it was an experimental thing, but I saw that it made a lot of difference. We did quite a lot already. We have done solar power light to communities in Egbedore, communities in Ede South local government, Ede North local government. We have done quite a number of that. But I decided that for this year, we should do more of that, especially in our rural communities. Our markets, our motor parks, our palaces. We're going to be lightening them up in the 2021 budget. We have provisions already for that.
Okay, so Honorable, on this segment, you get to speak with your people in your local dialect. When you go home, you don't interact with them in English. You interact with them in your local dialect. So everything we've said, tell them in your local dialect.
A dúpẹ́ fún Ọlọ́run fún ọdún méjì tí a ti wà ní bíbá yìí láti wá ṣojú àwọn èèyàn wa níjọba ìbílẹ̀ Àríwá Ẹdẹ, Gúúsù Ẹdẹ, Ẹgbẹ́dọ̀rẹ́ àti Èjìgbò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Orí ọ̀fẹ́ la rí gbà. Kì í ṣe mi ni mo dára jù, kì í ṣe mi ni mo gbọ́n jù ní ẹkùn ìdìbò yẹn kí wọ́n tó panupọ̀ láti gbé mi ni wọ́n fẹ́ rán níṣẹ́ ní àkókò yìí. Látìgbà tí mo ti dé bíbáyìí ní ọdún méjì sẹ́yìn lèmi náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí mú iṣẹ́ ṣe lórí ọ̀nà wo là á gbà láti mú èrèǹjẹ ìjọba wá fún àwọn èèyàn wa. Èrèǹjẹ ìjọba àyẹ̀wò pé sóríṣiríṣi ẹ̀rí pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí iṣẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ wa ní iṣẹ́ aṣòfin, ìyẹn òfin tá à ń ṣe fún gbogbo Nàìjíríà ni. Ṣùgbọ́n èyí tó kan àwọn èèyàn wa gbọ̀ngbọ̀n ò ní ká wo ọ̀nà wo ni wọ́n fi lè rí àpẹẹrẹ pé ìjọba àpapọ̀ ti rántí àwọn tí ò bá tí ì kàn ó dandan kó kan àwọn náà bí a ṣe ń tẹ̀síwájú. Níṣẹ́ mi ìta gbà ní bíbáyìí ju iṣẹ́ ká sin ìlú lọ, ká kó ipa láti jẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn wa kí wọ́n lè ní àǹfààní ìjọba, kí wọ́n sì lè ní oore ọ̀fẹ́ láti rí ohun tí àwọn náà ó lò láti máa pawọ́dà láti máa ṣiṣẹ́ lọ síwájú. Mo fi dá yín lójú wípé lágbára lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run oore nírú yìí tí àti ìrírú ẹ̀ rí yóò túbọ̀ máa wọ ẹkùn ìdìbò wa ní àkókò yìí. Kọ́lọ́run ó jọ kó fún wa ní àlàáfíà Nàìjíríà, kó jẹ́ kí gbogbo ilé ẹnì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa kó tùbà kó túṣẹ.
Adúpẹ́ gan sir. So I have been speaking with the lawmaker representing Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore and Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State at the House of Representatives, Honorable Bamidele Salam. Honorable, you're welcome to know your representative.
Thank you very much.
And that's our package for today. Thank you for being part of the program today. You can always watch our missed episode on our YouTube page, Mabase TV. My name is Mariah Olashende. I'll be back next week. Till then, stay safe.